right, welcome back to another hour of Scotch Hour. I'm Noah.
And this is Jesse.
All right, Jesse. So tonight we are starting a new venture, and looks like we are going to be we're going to start off with the norm. We'll do our Scotch review, which we do have the Talisker 10, right?
Oh, yes, the Talisker 10.
And then from there, we'll do our shout outs and then restaurant review. And then we'll go into our Smarter Challenge, which is James Bond theme here, right?
That's right.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about this bad boy here.
Scotch review.
All right, so this is the Talisker 10. Of course, Talisker, one of my favorite Scotch houses, if you will, from the area, the Isle of Skye. Did fairly well in some of our previous tastings.
Yes, it did.
But this one is rated really well. So, and I mean, from previous experience, it's going to be a good one.
So why did we choose the Talisker 10?
This is the more important part. You know, little known fact, especially if you're reading the Ian Fleming's books, James Bond drank Scotch more often than he drank vodka.
Yeah, and I thought that was pretty surprising to see that he drank Scotch more than he did those vodka martinis. I think it was like 21-19 in the count or something like that.
Exactly, yes.
So a little bit about Talisker. So apparently it has a 5-still setup, and it was founded by the McCaskill brothers in 1830. And they did such a crappy job with it. They lost the distillery to the bank. And then that was in 1948. That's when the bank controlled Talisker. And then at that point, I guess it changed hands multiple times until the 1880s when Kemp and Allen bought Talisker Distillery. And then from there, in 1892, Kemp sold his shares of the distillery to Macallan.
Interesting.
And in 1916, that's when they became part of the Johnny Walker Group. And then in 1960, Talisker's distillery burnt down.
How do you burn down something that's made out of metal?
I don't know, but their distillery burnt down.
Twin Towers.
And then apparently, I think it took like a couple of years for them to get back up and running. But they are not what they are today, like what we know it right now, until like the 1990s, I think is what it says. So there's some history there about Talisker and some of its ups and downs that it's gone through, which kind of reminds me of some of the ups and downs of our superhero, or maybe not superhero, but our spy that we're going to be talking about tonight, James Bond.
Absolutely. You know, it's a handsome looking bottle, goes great with a nice dark suit, and yeah. So great history there. Talisker, to me, very reminiscent of one of my favorites, Lagavulin. Typically a little more leathery, but much like Oban and Lagavulin, the Talisker scotches to me usually have that air of sea water to them, the nose and the taste.
Yeah, so apparently it's supposed to have some maritime or brine in there, so I'm excited to taste it. Talisker is known to have like mixed fruit, smoke, sulfur, salt, and pepper in there.
A little spicy.
Yeah. A little bit of salt and pepper, but I think the salt's coming from the maritime flavors. And it has like a really nice copper look to it, from what I can tell.
So, fun fact while we're helicoptering our Scotch here, another fun fact is that in the earlier Bond days, single malt Scotches were not the thing. It wasn't the sought after choice. It was much about blended Scotches.
Yeah, blended Scotches. You see in some of the older movies, like Jack Daniels, and there's like a blended Scotch with the little Scotties, the black and white.
Do you think by chance, so as we visit some of the different Scotches, we know that in the Pierce Brosnan James Bond movies on more than one occasion, usually Judi Dench's character M is drinking it, the Talisker 10. But in the Daniel Craig versions, he's spotted drinking a Macallan 18, possibly another Macallan double cask varietal. But then the 1962 fine and rare 50-year-old Scotch. I don't know why I didn't, connect the dots immediately, but the first James Bond movie was released in 1962.
Oh,
Cheers.
cheers! Yeah, a lot of these James Bond movies have a lot of like Easter eggs.
Yeah. Or, there's Pain and Respect homage to another episode. Yeah. All right. So for me, wonderful golden amber color.
Yeah, I think it's a nice gold color. It's like a copper orange in color.
I definitely get the seaside, that maritime.
Yeah, you do get a little bit of the maritime salt in there, but I think you get like a slight bit of toffee and maybe a hint of honey and vanilla.
I'm getting a hint of smoke for sure. Just a hint. Not something over the top like Lagavulin with that peaty taste of Band-Aid.
Maybe that smoke that you're smelling might be like that charred oak. Maybe get some nice malt flavor there with a little bit of peat, barley. You do get the little bit of maritime and a little bit of that wet leather. And
Definitely getting some wet leather. I love that. Mm-hmm. I'm getting a hint of
probably maybe some dark dried fruits.
That's exactly what it is. Like some dried grapes.
Yeah.
Maybe a hint of apple, but it's a very slight hint.
I think it might be like when you say that hint of apple, probably like an apple peel.
Yeah.
Not like some of those other ones where you have like a heavy apple, but
like the Mortlock.
But yeah, I like the kind of like toasted charred oak or toasted oak there on the finish.
I agree. And to that point, it has got a nice, pleasant nose, not overbearing, not so mild.
The nose isn't overbearing. The balance it's pretty like medium body, well balanced, with a very enjoyable lingering finish.
Yes. No spikes.
No, not really. No,
enjoying that.
And I do really enjoy the finish there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and for our viewers, like what was the price point on this?
Oh, so depending on your location of purchase, we were able to find the Talisker 10 at Total Wine for approximately $60. So very affordable for a 10-year great Scotch.
$60 for a 10-year? Yeah,
it's like 65.
65. Okay, that is actually a steal.
Mm-hmm. Especially for a good 10-year.
Yeah.
We've had 18 years that weren't this good.
I agree. And I think the packaging is great. I love the box.
The gold, the cream and the blue.
Yeah, I mean, like when you look at that, like the crashing sea there, it looks like a cold crashing sea. Mm-hmm. Obviously from the Isles of Scotland area, of the Isle of Skye, right?
Yes.
And then the label itself is just very classy.
It's handsome.
Yeah. So I can see why Em would be drinking this.
There you go. Em, you're classy. Well, Judi Dench was very classy, actually.
It's time for our shout-outs.
All right. I know this is just painfully repetitive. Verstappen and Honda winning the Mexico City Grand Prix. Okay. If you did not get a chance to watch the race, you don't have to. Here's the good news. It's not that you don't want to, you don't have to. But what you do want to watch is 30 seconds before the green light and 1 minute after the green light. And spoiler alert, all you need to know is Verstappen, whose qualifying attempt was foiled, managed to overtake not just the second place car of Hamilton, but the first place car of Bottas. I almost said Jenson Button, of Bottas, to take the lead in the first corner. This is very rare, almost unheard of. It was a beautiful move, so flawlessly executed as they're coming down the straight. He's driving, goes around, and just flawlessly. Again, I'm pretty brave at sometimes. That was bold. That was brave. Executed perfectly. So from that point on, dominated the race. Great job. Super excited. I think he ended up winning easily. Not like he had to push it towards the end by 16 plus seconds. So great job, Honda, giving the fight to Mercedes. Verstappen, giving the fight to Hamilton, keeping the season alive.
I can actually give a shout out to my cousins, Michelle, Cherie, and Cherie's husband, Sean. They made some fondue, which was really great. It was nice to hang out with some cousins again. And since coming back to Colorado from Utah after being away for about 12 years, that set of cousins have been really good about like inviting me to come over and stuff. So I want to thank them. It was really fun to hang out over there. They throw together a pretty good spread, and then we sit outside by their fire pit, which is pretty nice. It was a good time. So yeah, I just want to thank them and my younger brother. It was a fun time. So
yeah,
thanks. I'll give a shout out to them.
Restaurant review.
This week's restaurant, Fogo De Chao.
Fogo De Chao.
And this was the Park Meadows location.
Correct.
For myself, I began the evening with my blood orange Manhattan, and it was divine.
You know, I really wanted to try that, but since we didn't really go in the evening, we went like during like brunch. Yeah, on Sunday. I guess I kind of screwed that up, but anyways, we went like a day early, and I just felt more like a brunch type of drink, which is why I went with the Moscato.
Moscato, yeah.
That they had there on the wine list, and I actually forget the name. I think it's Umbrero or Umbrio or something. I forget what it was. I just wanted something that was kind of light, refreshing, and sweet. Even though it is a Brazilian steakhouse, which means they have the, what is it called, like the churrasco or whatever it's called, where they have like the steak guys coming around cutting off steaks.
The churrasco experience?
Churrasco, yes. That's what it's called. And it was great food. Like they had some really well cooked meats.
They did. Actually, I counted, and we had 13 of the 14 meats and 3 of the 4 sides during our experience. But we also had one side that isn't normally on their menu that they brought to us. So technically 4 sides, because the grilled pineapple is not normally on that menu.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh, so
was
me
a
asking
bonus feature.
So me asking for it was a bonus feature?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
The really cool part, and when you go there for brunch, I thought, was that we also got the access to the breakfast stuff. So you could get like an omelet made, or you can get the waffles.
Yep.
And then you had the full salad bar experience too, which was actually pretty killer, especially nowadays with like COVID and a lot of places like not having their all you can eat buffets, open. But they had like they had prosciutto on there, basil, mozzarella, and tomatoes, like huge tomato slices.
Some of my favorites were the smoked salmon.
Oh yeah, the smoked salmon with capers. Hey, capers. For those of you who've never had capers before, this would be a place. Brian, we're just joking.
Giving Aaron a shout out.
Oh yeah, I will say this. Sorry, I'm not really sure this is
a shout out. It's a shout out.
It's a shout out. But hopefully Brian gets well. He's feeling ill. So he's been kind of like radar silent. He did text me saying like he is extremely busy with his comic book TV thing with the school and the coaching and all that. So apparently school's going really well, but he said that he just was like so overwhelmed that his body finally broke down, and he was sick this weekend. So hopefully he feels better.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the restaurant. The salad bar area has some great sauteed mushrooms.
Oh yeah, the peppers, the
Oh, yeah, the
grilled
smoke-
peppers.
Yep.
A lot of delightful salads.
There was something you grabbed, and I'm like, the beets.
The beets were
Yeah, I'm
great.
like, yeah.
Little slices of grapefruit on.
Okay, so I got to ask this.
Yes.
Were the beets as good as they were at that Greek restaurant we went to a few
No.
weeks back?
No, the beets were good, but those beets at the Greek restaurant were the best I think I've had in my life. And,
So that's Opa Grill
yeah,
in
Opa
Parker.
Grill still has the best beets of Jesse's life.
Hey, I got to try one of those little beets, and they were phenomenal. Like, they were super good. Anyways,
Yeah, the beet was good. It was more colorful,
Yeah.
very lively with a little slice of grapefruit that had been slapped, if you will, but placed delicately on top, and it absorbed some of the beet coloring into the grapefruit, so it made a really nice presentation.
so they had, like, I thought was seafood salad, but I think it was actually chicken in there instead of like lobster or instead of crab meat. But I could be totally wrong. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes.
It's not that hard to tell it was chicken. I thought the same thing looking
Okay.
at it, and when I had it, I was like,
was trying to give
it's
them the
still-
benefit of the
It's
doubt
still
there.
really good.
Yes, it was really
Just
good.
wasn't crab.
Exactly. So when I was saying my shout out was going to come from an experience that wasn't totally mine, but I did partake in it later on when we got to the
That's
restaurant.
right.
So Jesse, right? He calls over there and checks to see like when do we have to be sat down in order to get the brunch menu.
Do we need to make reservations?
Yeah, do we
Good
need to make
idea.
reservations? Yeah, and all that stuff. And the hostess goes, "What are you guys celebrating anything?" And Jesse's like, "No, just great fruit, just great food." And she's like, "And a great hostess, right?" And so when we got there, we joked around with her, saying like, "So you're the great hostess we're celebrating today?" And so I think that kind of made her laugh and enjoy a little bit of her.
It was.
Work
And
time.
what I would say is,
I think it set up a good time.
not just that, but Fogo de Chao, if any of the management or anybody who has some of the controls in place, you guys should definitely celebrate her.
Yeah.
Because as far as service was good.
Service was good.
Particularly with the Churrasco experience and the Churrasco gentlemen and ladies bringing the food around. But nobody gave the service that the hostess did. And she apologized. She took a minute. She made sure our table was right, got us seated, got us a big table. She must have known we were going to have some fun, take some photos, and eat a lot of food. I'm serious. Everyone else is getting like the normal tables, and we got a double. I'm like, yeah, I want to need this. So room for my drink, room for my salad plate, room for my meat plate. Don't crowd me.
Yeah, and then we also had like so much food though, like we like all the hot sides that comes with the experience. Like I didn't even try any of those.
I tried them. They were okay, but the meat was definitely absolutely the win. But that, and then the market table, I think is how they refer to it, because it's not a salad bar. It's not simply a little hors d'oeuvre area. It is a table with meats and cheeses and fruits and vegetables and salads.
Yeah, and they actually have like some really nice soups there. It looked like there's one soup that they had listed on there I wanted to try, but I don't know if they had it out or not yet.
Oh, the biggest problem is we went there thinking we were going to eat for 2 hours. And after an hour, and this was part of the good service, honestly, with the gentlemen and ladies bringing around the meats, perfectly cooked to the temperature. As far as when we had a choice, that's the truth. And they just filled us up within an hour, man. We were like, well, shoot, there goes our 2 hour experience. We're stuffed. We don't have room for dessert.
And the other thing was really
Scotch
cool
hour
too.
out.
Is that when I did ask for a couple different types of meats, they were totally Johnny on spot. Like they just brought it straight right out. So
Yeah. For me, part of the win with service and also food, the food I gave a 10 to.
yeah, yep, okay.
10 out of 10 for me. And with the food, a 10 was because, again, when we had the choice, and I like my meats medium rare, I know you like your meats at the same temperature. They delivered 100% of the time. The only meats I didn't fall in love with were the 3 where they didn't have the choice to cook them to our chosen temperature, which were the bacon wrapped ones.
Well, the 2 bacon wraps, right? And then there's also the Parmesan chicken one, or no, Parmesan pork. That was a little bit too dry. and the lamb chop was. I don't think the lamb chop was tender enough.
But yeah, for me, the best lamb chops I've had, again, in my life were at Elway's Steakhouse at Cherry Creek, and they were so flawlessly cooked. They were just like the beets from Opa House. They were the best lamb of my life. It was unbelievable.
But you did say, yeah, like, was it like a lamb steak or something that they did do really well?
They did do really well. We were able to choose the temperature on there, and I thought it was great. Seasoned really well. That's the trick with lamb. A lot of times I would ask for mint to have on the side or go find some. It didn't need it. It was seasoned flawlessly, but particularly all of the different beef products were delicious.
Was it the prime? It wasn't a prime rib, was it, or what was it?
Honestly, there was basically the ribeye cut.
The ribeye cut, yeah. Is that the one that had like the rock salt on it? Yeah, that was so good.
Oh yeah.
When you got like, if you are able to, right? Sometimes you're never lucky enough, but if you talk to them, and you're really polite to them, sometimes they'll be really cool, and you can get the outside cut. And when you can get the outside cut with all the seasoning on there, oh man, that is so good.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I have nothing but good marks for that place. I think they did a great job. And honestly, I think it all started with the hostess and the phone call.
Makes a huge difference, and that's just it. Like, she was on speakerphone because we were trying to do a couple things, get out the door, go enjoy this feast. I would call it a feast. And from the moment we walked in, it was great. I do like the outside. I don't care for the parking. Like, unless you're valet parking, it could be a nightmare, so be prepared for that. Atmosphere, I gave a 9 out of 10, and the only reason it's only a 9 out of 10 and not a 10 out of 10 was because had I chosen to go back to their market table, the tables were a little close as I was walking through, and it wasn't that I couldn't get through or that they weren't 3 feet apart, really. I assume they're ADA compliant. I really do. It's just that I don't want to intrude upon other people's dining experiences while I'm also eating, and so I just wished I'd had a little bit more room as I was rounding corners to get back to the table.
Yeah, and I kind of wish I had some more room just to see what they had on their dessert menu. Oh, and the other really cool part about this is they had, was it the 18-year Macallan there?
The 25-year Macallan.
The 25-year Macallan.
14-year Oban.
14-year Oban.
A whole list of scotches. The other side of the table had a bunch of choices too.
Yeah, so there was some, like, if you like scotches, they had some really great
choices.
options, yeah.
Not always easy to find depending on where you are. To this day in Colorado, the best selection I have found, and I'm sure there are other steakhouses that are just as good, maybe better. But for me, the best selection I have found so far is still Cherry Creek's Elway's. And that's, it's a good location. It's a fun place too. We need to visit there at some point. But, as we kind of round this up, the only deterrent for service for me was the fact that the bartender was too busy watching football and making a scene to just let us have our experience. I don't know if you noticed that too.
I did notice that. He was kind of like, I'm not sure. Was he talking about betting on games or something like that?
He was heated. He was emotional. And it's one of those things where you couldn't ignore it unless you were trying.
Yeah.
And I was trying and I still couldn't ignore it.
Yeah. And then, and he was hitting on one of the waitresses or something like that.
Hey, I get that. All fair game. Like, hey, you're a nice bottle of scotch. What's your number?
What's your number? So, okay.
So, yeah. You want me to round up first, or you want to round off first with the restaurant?
Okay. So, I guess ambiance, I'll give it like a 9. I think actually, if you can get there and it's still warm out and they're doing the patio service, if you can get there like around dusk or whatever, I think that'd be awesome. Although we went during brunch time, so I think going during brunch, I think is a great time to go. So yeah, ambiance, I'm going to give a 9. The wait staff, other than the bartender, therefore, because of the bartender, I'm going to give it like a 9.5 because they were pretty much Johnny on the spots. The bartender did distract a little bit, but for the most part, I kind of like ignored him.
Yeah.
And really, I think the hostess kind of makes up for the bartender. And the food, I'm going to give it a 10. And so, overall, I'm going to give it about like a 9.5. And I guess from your like casual to like first date, getting laid or whatever. I forget. I don't know what. I
Dude,
forget how you're
knocking socks off.
like. I think.
Dude, you're gonna be too full to go home.
So this is
Too
what I'm gonna say.
much, all right?
Can you take a woman there on her first date? Yeah, you could, but you probably don't want to because you're gonna look like a pig if you eat too much. Probably.
I don't know. You just
But-
eating at the right time. Brunch might have been perfect.
Brunch might have been perfect, but could you do it? Yes, most certainly. Would it get you a second date? I think it possibly could.
You'd have to really screw that one up.
And would you be able to go back home and knock boots? Well, if you're not in a food coma, sure.
I'm pretty close to where you are. For me, atmosphere 9 out of 10, pretty well up here. The food's a 10 out of 10. Really, no complaints. I didn't expect any different with the bacon wrapped meats. I fully understood that. And the market table was a huge win for me too. To your point, where else have we seen that in the past 2 years? Nowhere for me. Nowhere. Service for me was a 9. There were a couple other little one-offs. Yeah. Can you go there casual at the appropriate time, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, you could. Can you go there semi-formal anytime? Formal, yes. First date, yes. Friends date experience, absolutely. They were very welcoming. Could you go there at the right time? Semi-formal, even formal? I mean, I do. So yeah, I think you absolutely could. It didn't make me feel awkward. Maybe some of the others around me, but for me, if I'm rounding out the four numbers, for me, it's a 9.25. So yeah, roughly rounded up 9.5. It's almost a 10. You don't get very many restaurants that great because that's rare. And the food was great. The drink was phenomenal.
Yeah, I wish I would have gotten the drink wise. I mean, don't get me wrong. I did like the wine. It was light and refreshing, which is what I wanted at the time.
Yeah.
I think if I go back, I'm gonna definitely try the drink.
So yeah, that blood orange Manhattan was made with Buffalo Trace bourbon, Carpano Antica, I believe is how it's pronounced. Blood orange, of course, and then the bitters, the Angostura bitters, and it's one of the better ones I've ever had.
Smarter challenges.
The best of Bond. So my favorites and Noah's favorites, it can be really what we're looking for is that top one for best Bond movie, best Bond villain, best Bond song, and then it's all over. Just like with anything else, the best Bond and the best Bond girl.
All right. So which one are we starting off with?
Let's start off with the best Bond actor.
All right, so this is kind of tough. Do you want me to go first? Or
Yeah,
you want to
go first.
Okay. So this was kind of tough for me. I think after like having a conversation with my brother and my cousin Sean, and even with you, I think we've all talked about like how it seems like depending on what generation you grew up in, you tend to kind of lean towards that type of James Bond. So obviously in our younger years, that was going to be more of like Roger Moore. And then as we got older, more to our more formative years, like high school to college and going on, it's going to be more like Pierce Brosnan. And we also had, somewhere in between, we had Timothy Dalton and all those. So one of the main reasons, there's a couple of reasons why I'm going to go with this particular actor, but I am going to go with Pierce Brosnan as my number one.
I like it.
James Bond. Although I don't think he really fits the athletic or like what I would think like the fit, totally fit, like muscular type of physique that you would need for a spy, I guess, as an MI6. But I do think what he lacks there, he makes up with his intelligence, how classy he looks. And I think the suave part of what James Bond would be in that classical gentleman and just being able to have have that elegance and chivalry type of thing. I think that totally matches what I would expect Bond to be.
And it's interesting because as we deliberated a lot on this before we haven't shared our answers up until right now, we deliberated a lot on this. One of the not shocking, but surprising factoids, if you will, for me, a little piece of minutia, really, was that Pierce Brosnan is just a hair under 6'2" tall.
Yeah, he's a tall guy.
Yeah, and thinking about that and just the general concept I had of him in my mind, I was thinking like 5'10". I was thinking he was, maybe 5'11", my height. And then to find out this guy is 6'2", it also puts into perspective how tall he is. That also is proportionate to the rest of him. It's most like Sean Connery when you first think of him as a young man, not necessarily so physical, not the greatest physique. And then you see him take his shirt off in a couple of the earlier Bond movies. It's like, that guy's actually fit. I will give you 100% agreement in fact, as far as the look. And then I'm going to go a step further, the detail. So most of Brosnan's Bond suiting was done by Brioni, and the detail in the suits and the clothing throughout, and I'll get to more of this later, but throughout was done impeccably. So if we had done another section of best dressed, for me, it would actually be Pierce Brosnan.
He does. I mean, like when you see him like dressed up in the tuxes and stuff, he does look.
Dude, he's a 10.
like you totally believe like, yeah, he belongs in in that place or whatever. He just like,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Which makes it so funny in the his last movie after he's been captured by the Koreans and everything, and he walks into that hotel room or into that hotel lobby, and he's like still has like his like
pajamas or like basically his hospital gown on.
Yeah, his hospital gown on and big bushy beard from when he was in captivity and long hair. He's like, yeah, I'll just have my regular room, please. Can you send my tailor?
Unusual suite. Do you have a card, sir? Man, he is a good one. Any other reasons you chose him?
Yeah, but I think that ties in with my favorite movie, though. So I'm not sure you want me to dive in to go there or just wait till I go there.
All right. I'll just go in then to my favorite Bond. And this one was also equally challenging. You mentioned Roger Moore for our, when we were young and growing up. For me, I was never that impressed with Roger Moore. Not that he didn't do a great job. I think for me, it was very different. And I think the reason for this, as I look back through history, was one of the things I remember fondly was watching James Bond movies with my mom and my dad, particularly my mom, would really be opinionated, still is. And I love that, by the way, very opinionated. And just talk about looking at the way he handles himself, look at the way he sits. These are things gentlemen do. And as I watch them, and as times have changed, that is true. What a gentleman does has changed. What is expected has changed. Sean Connery was absolutely exemplary in those pieces. Now, also, you're reverting what you're talking about, 1962. Here we are, a year shy of 2022. So you're basically talking almost 60 years, 59 years. So the acceptable acts publicly and privately were also very different. And he was great. He was great. I did love him. Looking through, George Lazenby, hell no.
Hell no.
Roger Moore, like, he was all right. He's cool. Timothy Dalton, to me, was kind of like a goofy James Bond. If there was like the goofy James Bond, that's the one for me. I loved Pierce Brosnan. And it wasn't until seeing the full scope of Daniel Craig and his 5 movies that for me it has to be Daniel Craig. And as we look through the listing, we know that Sean Connery did 7, Roger Moore did 6, Pierce Brosnan only did 4, Daniel Craig did 5, and for me it is still Daniel Craig, and there are many reasons for that. I think Daniel Craig was pretty smart. You have in the past talked about character arcs, and I think he absolutely was exemplary in that sense. As he starts, he's very immature, I will say. He takes a lot of unnecessary risks, and as you see him go through time, he's still got to take a few risks. He's still got to use his gun. He's changed in some ways, but not all. But at the end, the world is bigger than him. And I think for me, that was very impressive to see that Daniel Craig knows, hey, there's something more important than me. And I love that. He did a great job. So for me, it's Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig he does a great one. I was kind of disappointed because you know who I think would have made an awesome James Bond is Clive Owen.
Oh man, he could have been pretty sexy.
I think he would have been a great James Bond.
The question is, would he have been suave like Pierce Brosnan, or would it have come across a little too heavy and goofy like Timothy Dalton?
I don't know. I think he would have been somewhere in between Brosnan and Craig.
Yeah. Well, we may never know.
I don't think we ever will.
He may be getting to that 1962 McAllen stage of his life.
Yeah. All right. So are we gonna go movie next, or how are we gonna go?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you have more than one that you want to lead up to it or give other shout outs, please do.
For time constraints, I'm just going to talk about the one I'm going to choose as my number one. There's others I do like a lot, but I kind of want to maybe touch on those maybe at the tail end when we have like more just free flow time.
All right.
So the one that I chose, and this kind of ties in with why I chose Pierce Brosnan, is Tomorrow Never Dies.
Ooh, great movie.
I think it's a great movie. I think what's his name? Carver.
Yes.
Do you remember what Carver's first name is?
Is it James?
Thought I had it written down here. Elliot Carver.
Elliot, that's it.
And his wife was I just forgot her name. She was on Friends. Wasn't she? Wasn't she
Terry Hatcher?
Yeah, wasn't Terry Hatcher on Friends?
I don't know, but Terry Hatcher was attractive.
Oh no, Terry Hatcher was on Friends. But yeah, Terry Hatcher. I got her mixed up somewhere. Anyways, Terry Hatcher. But the reason why I enjoyed Tomorrow Never Dies is because I happened to be in Hamburg, Germany, when they were filming the movie. And so I remember eating breakfast at the hotel there I was at in Hamburg, Germany, with one of my fraternity brothers that we were out there doing like a travel through Germany type of thing, like just backpacking through Germany. And we were eating breakfast, and on the radio they were talking about the filming of the new James Bond movie. And although we didn't get to see like James, or we didn't get to see Pierce Brosnan or any really the actors, we got to see the area that they were filming and stuff like that. So it was kind of really cool to be there. And then so I think it just has like that little bit more of nostalgia to it as far as being able to see the filming area or the area where they filmed it at, and be in Hamburg at the same time that they were filming. And so that just that added just a little bit more to Tomorrow Never Dies, which that's the reason why I chose that as my favorite. But there are definitely other. If you take that one factor out, there's other movies I would probably choose higher than that one.
I don't know. Like, I think you might still go with this one if you just really consider what the premise of that movie is.
Oh yeah, now we'll talk about that.
Completely applies to the real world today.
Yeah, I figured we talk about that a little bit later because I also like with doing that, I want to bring in the new movie No Time to Die, because I think the theme of Tomorrow Never Dies with No Time to Die, I think we can go into some things because I have some notes here to cover that. So we'll talk about that.
Well, I'll go through mine. I'll try to go through mine quickly as well.
Well, I'll say this. If I had to choose one without the whole nostalgia part, it's going to be Casino Royale.
Okay. All right. Well, very interesting. For me, the third, I just always...
The Daniel Craig Casino Royale, just by the way.
For me, I ranked mine in third. So my third favorite was Skyfall. And part of that is because Javier Bardem played the perfect opponent, the switching of
Skyfall's
good. Yeah, so good. The second for me is a way back kickback. So you go, I'm dating Skyfall 2012, From Russia with Love 1963, Sean Connery, Spectre's in there, much like he is in the Daniel Craig films, like they are, not him, but the concept of Spectre. But for me also, number one, Casino Royale, without a doubt. And there are so many reasons for that to play into all the different pieces. and like I'm
Is that
like
because of the Bond girl?
I mean, that's one of many pieces. I think Lashif was actually a decent villain. Not in my
Yeah, I
tops,
did like.
but I think he was real. Mr. White's in there. And what that movie develops between M and Bond and showing how at the beginning he is not ahead of her 3 steps in so many ways, even though he's taking steps that are ahead of her current abilities to make calls. Really creates this tension and this play of what it would really be like to be a bureaucrat or an agent and to be in an office or in the field. I think it's flawlessly done. Eva Green does an amazing job being a Bond girl. All the actors in there, but for me, yeah, absolutely the way they rebooted the whole James Bond franchise into this 5-movie piece with Daniel Craig. That from the very beginning of Casino Royale, all the way through the very end of No Time to Die, they are completely intertwined. You just have to know what to look for.
Skyfall is kind of like Empire Strikes Back.
Dude, it is a bomb movie.
Because
think about
everything that happens in Skyfall, and I'm surprised maybe this could be like one of my at least top 3 maybe.
Definitely my top 3.
Because when you look at Skyfall, right, you look at like all the stuff that Bond goes through with M, who is played by what's her name?
Judi Dench.
By Judi Dench, and she knows that Bond had basically like kind of gone away for a while and was shot and all that stuff because she called the kill order. She
take
the shot, and Moneypenny ends up shooting Bond, and so spoiler alert, sorry if you haven't, whatever.
Yeah, if you haven't seen this movie now, you're a decade in the past.
Yeah,
Skyfall
so
came out in 2012.
So it's your own fault. But anyways, so Bond, like you said, take the shot. You basically screw you, right? So I'm gonna just play dead for a while, and then he sees that she's in trouble, comes back in.
Loyalties.
Yeah, loyalties. And then from that point on, she plays a loyalty back. And at the same time, her job is on the line. And she's like, kind of like hides like he failed like every task and kind of like, yep, you passed.
Yep. Welcome back.
And I think she stood up for Bond when Bond came back and showed that loyalty. Mm-hmm. And when she did that, they're like the politicians, if you will. They're all like, "Wow, we don't need espionage anymore. We don't need spies. We got computers. We got cameras. We got all this stuff." And then she's like, "No, we don't know who our enemies are anymore. You have to operate in the shadows now. It's more imperative now than it was before." And I think the guy, the new M, who replaces her,
Ralph Fiennes,
he, I think. At the beginning, he was all about like, screw Bonds. Bond sucks, whatever. Get him out of here. He's over the hill, kind of washed up. He didn't, he knew that he didn't pass his test. And then I think he found a newfound respect at the end of Skyfall. Mm-hmm. And like, I think like the whole, like it kind of sets up the whole second half of that 5-movie series. And really is kind of like, it's like Empire Strikes Back with Star Wars.
No, I agree with you. I think that this 5-movie section of Bond's history was perfectly planned. And to your point, if you think that Skyfall was the 3rd of 5 movies and you divide it in that middle waypoint where that's where Judi Dench as M is reaching her end and Ralph Fiennes is starting his, it's literally, you almost couldn't plan it better.
Exactly.
I'll bet they did plan it, is the point.
And it's kind of funny too, because like, was it Raffine? Is that what his name?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, actually, if you're gonna like leave breadcrumbs, do it this way.
Yeah.
And then that way we also get camera footage too.
Again, right in the middle. Yeah, like make this.
He's like, I know what you guys are doing is not supposed to be legal, but let's do it this way.
Yeah. And it was great. So I 100% agree.
All right. So next one.
So we went for Bond movie, Bond
movie.
And now it's time, Bond girl.
Bond girl. Ooh. So I'm going to start off with like Bond girl names,
okay.
Right? There's some pretty epic ones. We have Honey Rider.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. We have Pussy Galore.
Even better.
Holly Goodhead.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Oxana on the top.
On a top?
Yeah. And then we have Strawberry.
Georgian?
We have Strawberry Fields.
Was she a redhead?
Yes.
Oh, weird.
And then one I didn't write in the book here, but I knew is Waylon, like weigh in.
What? Waylon.
And then there's a couple others. So I think if I was going to go for the best Bond girl name, I'm probably going to have to go with the Pussy Galore from Goldfinger.
Do you remember what he says when she tells him?
No, I don't remember that.
Hi, I'm Pussy Galore. I must be in heaven. Sean Connery's response.
I know he said something. He had a pretty good response with Honey Rider, too.
Great responses. Things have changed. I don't think I don't know that they could get away with it.
I don't know if they could either. I'm not even sure they could get away with some of the names anymore either. But I think there's some great names. But for my...
Just thinking about the fact that I watched all those movies with my mother.
So my two favorite Bond women, though, as far as like if I were going to choose a Bond woman, number two, the runner-up, is Sophie Marceau. Is that how you say her name?
Marceau, yeah.
Marceau.
That's how I would say it.
Which is Electra King. And she played the princess in Braveheart. I think she's just a beautiful woman. So yeah, I think she's one of my favorites. And
From the World Is Not Enough.
From the World's Not Enough. But my number one, my favorite, my number one, and I've been a fan of her since when she was in, I forget what the name of the movie was, but she's in, I think it's in Paris, and it's kind of a pretty racy movie though. But Eva Green.
All right.
She plays Vesper, and yeah, I just I like her in every film that she's in, and she has like wonderful eyes, and the way she kind of like talks and carries herself though, it's almost kind of like mysterious of like what's behind that. Like you think about her like in the Kingdom of Heaven movie, then there's the then her part here in
Casino
Royale, and then her TV series Penny Lane, I think is what it's called. I think I like her as an actress. I think she's a beautiful woman. She has great eyes. I think her eyes really does it for me.
All right. Well, I as much was well torn into who was the best Bond girl. So my runners up, Sophie Marceau, The World's Not Enough, absolutely. Xenia on the top, Femke Jensen.
Yeah, oh, she's a beautiful looking woman too,
and
she's a cool Bond villain.
Yeah, it's just it. And then, so my runner up was Tatiana Romanova.
Is that from Russia with Love?
Daniela Bianchi from Russia with Love. Yes,
she's Italian.
Yeah, weird.
And
then finally, I this is an area where we agree absolutely. Vesper Lynn, Eva Green, Casino Royale. And for me, it was about the fact that she played the role so flawlessly that I remember the first time I watched it, when I found out where she really lied with her loyalties and not, I was both profoundly full of joy and also heartbroken.
Which is what sets up this whole 5-movie series too.
It literally sets up the whole rest of Bond's life throughout Ian Fleming's books, as well as, yes, the movies for sure. Not based on any of her other pieces. Not even, I don't even know if Eva Green's other roles ever really caught me, but this one did, and it was because it was believable. She did a great job as the actress for that role.
All right. So, villain, right? Oh no, song.
We can do villain or song. Which one you want to do first? Song?
Yeah, we can do song.
All right. What you got?
All right. So I have a list of 6 songs.
There are some great songs.
So number 6. I'm just gonna go down my list. I'm not gonna explain why or anything. But number 6, Duran Duran, A View to a Kill.
Ooh.
I thought that was I mean, when I was a kid, when we were younger and stuff, I remember that Bond movie, and that was like Duran Duran was really big back then, whatever. The next one after that was gonna be Sheryl Crow with Tomorrow Never Dies. I know like it didn't get a great reception from Bond fans, but I thought it was a good intro.
I thought it was a Lance Armstrong problem.
Number 5, Chris Cornell, and You Know My Name in Casino Royale. That was done really well. Number 4, Die Another Day by Madonna.
Ooh.
Is that 1, 2, 3, 4? Yeah, number 5. I guess this would be technically number 2, right? Or my runner-up.
Yeah.
Because I'm starting from 6. So it'd be 6, 5, 4. So Madonna is technically number 3. So number 2 is going to be Skyfall by Adele. I think her voice is just phenomenal in there.
Okay.
And number 1, just because it's iconic. Oh, and I forgot to talk about my iconic Bond girl, but whatever. Number 1 song, because it's iconic and it sets it up for all the other Bond movies, is Dr. No, the original theme song. And Honey Rider is my iconic Bond girl, even though she's not my favorite, because I think her walking out of the water with the white bikini and the knife right there kind of set up all the other Bond women.
Absolutely. And actually, you made the comment, and you were absolutely right, that Halle Berry's actions were paying homage to exactly that.
Exactly.
All right. So for myself, and this one was tough. So how I rated mine was I literally listened to the songs, and then I went and jumped on a treadmill. And I was like, which of these songs can I walk, run, jog for 40 minutes to? And for me, the 4th place was From Russia with Love. Again, 1963. I thought it was very well done by John Barry and his orchestra, if you will. A great song. Number 3, I was right there with you with Duran Duran, A View to a Kill. Great song. I could listen to that so many times. And I'm like, dude, this song kind of
The video was awesome on MTV.
The video was awesome.
When MTV actually showed videos.
Yeah, it was. So A View to a Kill, number 3. Number 2 for me, You Know My Name, Chris Cornell. And I think that was a great song. I thought it was very prevalent. Again, I could work to it, but no other song could I work out, jog, or run to more than Die Another Day by Madonna. So that was my number 1.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about like working out at the gym or whatever, I think Madonna would be number 1. Another one probably would be the new one that just came out with, I forget what's her name.
Billie Eilish.
Yeah. I think that might be pretty good, but I didn't really give it much consideration since the movie's still in the theater.
It's tough. It's new. I actually initially, before I went to go work out to songs, it was my number 1.
Okay.
And then, there was something, I don't know what it was. I'm probably being somewhat prejudiced, which I really try not to do about that song. But I think to your point, I think it's like, this song is so new, and I'm talking about 59 years worth of James Bond movies. Can I really rank this number 1 after I haven't listened to it for even a year?
Which is why some of this stuff is kind of tough, because you have to look, it's 59 years, and is some of our judgment based upon like the better technology that's used in filmmaking as comparative to before?
Even with the songs. Yeah,
even with the songs. I mean, because you look at some of the acting before, like if like, let's say Sean Connery had the same type of cinematography and technology today, if they could have used that when he was James Bond, would those movies have been better? Or like, it's kind of, it's interesting. I mean, they had to be a lot more creative in those older movies.
Yeah, you bring up a good point because we talked about Pierce Brosnan having the detail with the clothing. You take a different step. You take into account that Pierce Brosnan started GoldenEye in 1995. Casino Royale didn't come out until 2006. You're talking about 11-year span. Eventually, Tom Ford is suiting, if you will, Daniel Craig. With that 11-year span and the change in fashion and details, it's not that Tom Ford doesn't have as good, if not better, detail work than Brioni. It's that things had changed. And to this point, where you harken back and where I'm like, do I want a double-breasted suit or a single-breasted suit? I'm talking about the different makes of suit. I'm going with one for a different reason. And man, so much has changed. The technology has changed. And
just look at the cell phone technology.
Oh, yeah, that's hilarious. You look at Casino Royale. Again, Casino Royale, 2006. And now that phone is it's a child's toy.
Well, not only that, look at some of the cell phones that they use in the Pierce Brosnan movies. The old Nokia.
Were those cell phones? I had one of those. Just aged myself.
So yeah, it's just it's crazy to think about that. Okay, guess villain, right?
We're up to villain, and this is going to be an interesting one.
Ooh, so villains. I know, like I'm not as big of a James Bond fanatic as you. I do love James Bond movies, but I'm more of like a tourist, I guess. Right, I'm not a fanatic. I didn't read the books. I don't own the movies. I'll go see them in the movie theaters. I will watch them when they come on TV. If someone has them on Blu-ray, I'll watch them on Blu-ray. But I'm not like super fanatic like I am with Star Wars. Okay. So that being stated, some of my like villains, I had to ask you like, who's that big like Asian guy, right? Or who's the tall guy who like chomped on things? And so neither one of those were actually my favorite, but they're memorable. So.
Odd Job and Jaws.
Yeah, Odd Job and Jaws. They're memorable villains. And then I was reading something that talked about when James Bond, his Roger Moore movie, when they're in New Orleans. I'm like, yeah, didn't he like fight some like voodoo guy or something like that? So that obviously that is a memorable villain. Are they my favorite villains? No, but I think they have to be mentioned to the fact that they obviously did a good enough job of being a villain to where I remember the character. I just don't remember the names, and I just knew that they were a bad guy. So I think they need at least an honorable mention. So that being stated, one of I guess I'll go like top maybe 3 or 4 from here. Silva, I guess, would be like number 4.
Okay.
I think he's a great.
Silva.
Yeah, I think he's a great. He's from Skyfall. I think he's a great villain, and he does, like I said, he does set up the Empire Strikes Back of James Bond movies here for the Daniel Craig movies.
Oh, yeah.
And being that he was I'm not going to try to steal too much thunder here. Being that he was a former agent, I think he made a formidable villain, and it made it kind of believable. The next one after that, so number 3 would be Le Chiffre, and in Casino Royale, he was just like, even he had like the bloody eye, and he I don't know what it was about him, but I think like him like leaving like Eva Green on the road, like to where, like
could have been killed.
Bond's like he's like going over 100 miles an hour and could have easily like ran over her and all that stuff. So I think Le Chiffre did a good job. And also when he tortures James, I think this is why he becomes number 3, is how he tortures James Bond.
You may never be able to father a child.
James Bond is like, I got an itch to the right side. Can you hit more to the right side, or maybe it's the left side or whatever? And then after he swings that knot rope and smacks it to the right side, and James Bond starts like laughing,
crying, laughing.
Yeah, he's like, ha, ha, ha. Now everyone's gonna know you itched my balls.
Died itching my balls.
Died, yeah. That's just like, I don't know. That just made for a great villain, I guess.
Wow. All right.
All right. Number 3, and this would go for like, I know we're going kind of long here, but number 3 is Lucifer Sefin and the brand new movie. And here is kind of sort of why. There is a material that is in something that gets injected into people called Luciferian. And if you look at Safin's first name is like Lucifer. And it's kind of like, and when we talk about like what happens in that movie with the virus and something that gets injected into people in real life, that Luciferian stuff, which is like this light emitting compound that's found in something that gets injected into people. It seems like there's a really close connection here.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting if you make some connections, no doubt.
But my number 1 is going to have to be with Beaufield.
Okay.
Ernest Beaufield. And the reason why is because he has been in multiple books and multiple movies. He's a reoccurring villain. So he's kind of like the arch nemesis for Bond. And I think even if you're just a casual fan of James Bond movies like I am, I think he has to get the nod as being the number 1 villain because he is the arch nemesis of Bond and being in so many Bond movies and Bond books.
Is his pinnacle Inspector then?
I don't know if his pinnacle is Inspector though. Okay. But I think you have to take the overall works from like all the movies and all the books, and I think just because of how often he is Bond's main villain, because he's in Thunderball, on Her Majesty's Secret Service, You Only Live Twice, Diamonds Forever, For Your Eyes Only, From Russia with Love, Spectre, and No Time to Die. And then the books too. So, I mean, there's obviously a reason why.
His brother, man.
There's obviously a reason why he's like the arch nemesis of Bond, and so I think he has to get the cap tip to him as being the number 1 for those reasons, for that main reason.
That's really good, and it's a great point. It talks about really emphasizing the Sean Connery era of movies, rebooted into the Daniel Craig. You really don't hear about Spectre in any of the others, Roger Moore or Pierce Brosnan, but for me, the villains, number 3, Jaws. Richard Kiel, The Spy Who Loved Me from 1977, did a great job. I never forget this guy. I remember them. I believe they were running through what was supposed to be and probably was Egypt, and throwing Bond around. It was great. Number 2, also one of the great Bond girls.
Wait, with Jaws, sorry, I didn't mean to like Jaws, did he like at the very end like fall in love with a girl or something? Do you feel like that? Okay, I just want to make sure.
Some other girl had like a steel job, basically.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
No, and that's another reason he's great as a villain is because all he wanted was to be loved.
I just remembered that just now when you were talking about that. So I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good.
Go ahead.
Number 2, Electra King, also one of the great Bond girls, Sophie Marceau, The World's Not Enough from 1999. There's Noah.
So pretty. Sophie.
But for me, the greatest Bond villain, it's so weird to mention the predecessor, the runner-up there was Sophie, Electra King's character, Raul Silva, Javier Bardem, Skyfall 2012. So many reasons for this. Number 1, for me, he was literally a predecessor to Bond in the role of he was a 00. Second of all, he was burned. And when I say burned, what I mean is he bit the cyanide capsule. It didn't kill him. And when you see the special effects is when he takes this piece of material out of his mouth to show Judi Dench, what he looks like after he took the cyanide pill and it didn't kill him, but ate away so much of his face. It is literally, I want to say horrific. It is so potentially real. It is horrific, but it absolutely gives the belief that, man, this guy is out for vengeance in so many different ways. He's broken because of that, because he wasn't saved, if you will. Unlike James Bond, who came back, he never did. And it is, again, horrifying, terrifying. But beyond that, it's totally believable that this character would be the one person he outplans Bond and out strategizes Bond until the very end. He outplans and out strategizes MI6 and Judi Dench's M. Man, best villain ever, because for me, unlike many of the others, he had the whole package, the smarts, the physique, and then also, much like Bond, when you see him walking on the island after Bond's been captured, right before they have to go take a pistol contest, if you will, to shoot a shot of McKellen, 50-year-old age, 1962, fine and rare Scotch, off of a Bond girl's head. The way he walks reminds you, it lets you know he was a 00. He was as good, if not better, than Bond at some point. And then Bond's reaction when Javier Bardem, as Raul Silva, shoots the girl to knock the Scotch off her head. Best way to do it was a sure shot.
Wait, okay. Talking about that shot, though. Do you think he cheated?
I don't.
You know?
The rule was
to knock it off her head.
Knock it off her head.
I guess there was no rule about whether or not she still lived, but okay.
Or whether or not she got shot. It was for the Scotch to take a fall, and it did. And James Bond's response was flawless. Daniel Craig. What a terrible waste of Scotch.
And here's the thing, his shooting scores were so poor, but when
I thought he was going to hit her when I first saw him. Like, she's done.
But like when he ends up fighting, he shoots. He's like, oh, that's a waste of pour of Scotch or whatever it was. All of a sudden, he just like takes out everybody, and he didn't miss a shot. And he was like,
yeah, but you're
on
talking
target.
about people who were like within 3 feet. It's different also in movement.
Yeah,
reflexes are different when you're actually having
to
hold it still.
I think when you're standing still like that, you're just going off of like normal movement or normal like memory, but there is reflexive memory. And I think that's what happens right there in that part. But I
hope so. I want to keep going till I'm like 80.
Anyhow, I think we should probably, since we're already like over time, maybe in another future episode, and you can tell me if you want to do this or not, but we should do themes of Bond movies relating to real life.
All of them, which is ironic, but yes, absolutely should.
Because I think there's really 2 of them I want to hit on, which is Tomorrow Never Dies, and then the current one, which is No Time to Die. But to go into that, we're gonna well exceed our normal hour. So.
All right, yes, it's a revisit for sure.
Okay, so
we're drinking a Macallan.
Okay, sounds fair. All right, I guess this brings us to next week's Smarter Challenge.
All right, Noah, your choice. Smarter Challenge or Smarter Challenge.
Smarter Challenge. Okay. So I'm not going to come up with any super big research thing here. I think what we're going to do here is, I think we can do this with the time and our restaurant review and everything else. But if we need to, maybe we'll tie the second part of this Bond conversation into it. Okay. But really, I think for next week's Smarter Challenge, what are you grateful for? That can be a wide range of things. And what does Thanksgiving mean to you? Honestly, I think there's a whole lot of stuff we can talk about here of like what to be thankful for. And then if we do run out of time, then I think we can tie in the James Bond meanings from like movies or things that we see in the movies that apply to today's time. Does that seem fair to you?
Absolutely.
Because I want to make sure. I think when this Smarter Challenge comes out, I think it'll be Thanksgiving weekend.
The weekend before, right? Yeah, the Thursday before Thanksgiving.
Actually, Thanksgiving's it's on Thursday.
Oh yeah, it is on Thanksgiving. Yeah, this is Thanksgiving.
So the next episode will be our Thanksgiving episode.
So on the next Smarter Challenge, light meat or dark meat?
Yeah, we can talk about that too.
Gravy
what we like.
Potatoes
Yeah.
or yams?
So yeah, we can talk about Thanksgiving meal, what we're thankful for.
You're ready for a 2-hour show. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think it's fair. And then, like I said, if we have to fill in time, we can fill in with the James Bond
Dude,
stuff.
we're gonna be able to talk about food for like 2 hours easy.
And then we'll do our restaurant review because obviously we film early. Yeah, well, I'm not sure where we're going to go for our restaurant review, but yeah, we'll do something. All right. Do you have anything you want to say to the peeps or do you want to close out?
You know what? Finishing up this Talisker review, I like the golden amber color. I love the seaside air, and more so now than before, the slight smoke scent I'm getting off of it. It is surprisingly, for me, because of when I think of the Talisker Storm Scotch, it is surprisingly smooth. It almost reminds me, it's almost reminiscent of an Oban. I look forward to in the future comparing this versus the other to an Oban Little Bay or an Oban Bay Reserve, maybe even Oban 14. That is quite a comparison, but look forward to that. This is a great Scotch that I think would go, and I know I say this a lot, with pizza, but also with any number of fine meats. You know
what I would like is to go with?
Charcuterie plate, like platter, meats and cheeses. I think this is.
I think I would love to have it with like smoked salmon and capers.
Yes, any sort of smoked meats, dude. What's a caper?
What's a caper?
No. It's just
What's this little green thing?
Salty.
Something.
I think we
So
need to
salty.
do that. There we go. We just nailed it. We're going to have some smoked salmon and capers with the Talisker 10. It'll be in the cookbook.
Dude, who doesn't like smoked salmon?
Fools.
Yes, definitely fools. All right. Anything else you want to say to the peeps?
For me, thank you for continuing or for starting to enjoy our show. Please give us feedback, like, subscribe. It takes nothing from you. Please like and subscribe. And also let us know. Give us some feedback, what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy. Did you like the Bond topic? Do you want us to go in this much depth? Or do you want more depth? Please share, and I won't drown you with my questions, but please continue to give us feedback. All of the feedback in the past that we have taken, we have applied.
Try to, anyways.
We have. Maybe not to another's preferred extent. What do you mean you didn't spend $10,000 on lighting? Well, our budget was a fraction of that. Sorry, I needed a new suit. So with that, we joke about it, but we're also fully sincere about it. Life is great.
Yes, life is great.
And please do not drink and drive. Noah.
All right. So, as Jesse said, please interact with us. So in the comment field down below, please let us know who your favorite Bond actor was, why they were your favorite Bond actor, which one was your favorite James Bond movie, who your favorite Bond girl was, maybe what your favorite Bond girl name is. Also, let us know in the comment area your favorite villain. And did I miss any of the Bond topics there?
No, man.
Your favorite Bond song.
Yeah.
So let us know if you have your opinion there. Please drop it in the comment field. Let us know so that way we can comment and interact with you. Also, as my wonderful co-host here had mentioned, please like, share, and subscribe our podcast if you like our content. Let us know too, like, what do you want more of? Do you like did we go too much in depth with James Bond? Did we not go deep enough? Do you like our Scotch review here? Eventually we're going to come up with our own rating systems for Scotch. Do you like the restaurant reviews? I know for most people, the restaurant reviews are only applied to the Denver metropolitan area. We'll probably be venturing out eventually, maybe outside of the Parker, Aurora area eventually at some point in time. There's only so many places we can hit up in this area.
We'll keep finding them.
Yes, yeah, we'll keep finding them. Hole in the wall places are usually pretty good sometimes. Also, we are video wise. Our video show is on YouTube and Rumble. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. is when they premiere. We are on Podbean, Spotify, Audible Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music, as far as all the Audible type versions of our podcast here. And I think one last thing. Yeah, if you do like our show and you want to donate to us, we do have a Patron membership here you can join up with as low as $1 a month. We do put that money towards our podcast, and we are going to rent out eventually, I think in December, we're going to rent out a movie theater for the new Matrix movie, unless we come up with a better idea. But I think that's what's on the docket for now. And with that, I just want to thank you all very much for watching our show or listening to our show. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for the support. And hopefully you have a wonderful night. And cheers to all of you.
Cheers.
Cheers. And we will be back next week at the same Scotch time.
Same Scotch channel.
Same Scotch channel. All right. Bye, everybody.
Cheers.
We hope you enjoyed this evening's episode of Scotch Hour. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you have not done so already, please become a Patron member, with memberships starting as low as $1 a month. Thank you, and hopefully you have a wonderful evening.